Scary True Home Alone. Stories that will terrify you. Story 3. The Mysterious Noises Above. Something Lurking in the Attic. Emma had always loved the old house. It was big, with tall ceilings and plenty of space to explore. She had spent her childhood playing in the attic, where old furniture and forgotten belongings had accumulated over the years. The place was a treasure trove of memories. Her grandmother's old jewelry box, her mother's high school yearbooks, and boxes filled with photographs of relatives she had never met. Emma had always been drawn to the attic, fascinated by the quiet, dusty atmosphere that seemed to hold secrets just waiting to be uncovered. But as she grew older, the attic had become less of a place for exploration and more of an afterthought. She had spent so much time up there as a child that it had lost its magic, becoming nothing more than a storage space for old furniture and boxes. Emma didn't mind. She enjoyed the simplicity of the downstairs rooms where she spent most of her time now. But that night, something changed. It was a quiet evening, much like any other, when Emma settled down in the living room to watch a movie. The soft glow of the TV illuminated her face as she curled up on the couch. A warm blanket draped over her. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees, and the house settled into its familiar creaks and groans. Emma was used to the sounds of an old house at night, but tonight there was something different. She first noticed the noise when the movie paused, the sudden silence making her more aware of the sounds around her. A soft shuffling noise coming from above. At first, it was subtle, like the sound of footsteps across the old wooden floorboards of the attic. Emma tilted her head, trying to discern whether it was the wind or perhaps just another creak from the house. But then the noise grew louder, clearer. The sound of something moving around, something heavy. Her heart skipped a beat. The attic door was at the far end of the hallway, just outside her brother's room. She hadn't been up there in months, and she had certainly never heard anything like this before. The noise continued, more distinct now, followed by a soft scraping sound, like something was being dragged across the floor. Emma's pulse quickened. She got up from the couch and moved toward the hallway, her steps hesitant and slow. The house was silent again, save for the wind howling outside. Emma stood at the foot of the stairs leading to the attic, her breath caught in her throat. The old wooden steps creaked under her weight as she made her way up, the darkness of the attic door looming ahead. She hesitated at the top of the stairs, listening intently, but the noise had stopped. Everything was still. The attic door was slightly ajar, a thin sliver of darkness spilling out from the crack. Emma's curiosity got the better of her, and she pushed the door open just enough to peek inside. The room was as she remembered, dusty, filled with old boxes and forgotten treasures. But there was something off. The air in the attic felt thick, heavy, as if something had recently disturbed the stillness of the space. She stepped inside, her flashlight cutting through the dark. The beam of light bounced off the walls, illuminating the forgotten objects that filled the room. The old furniture was still there, just as she remembered it. But something was different. The atmosphere was tense, unnerving. Emma felt as if someone, or something, was watching her. She took a few cautious steps forward, her heart pounding in her chest. The floorboards creaked under her weight, each step echoing in the otherwise quiet room. She moved deeper into the attic, her flashlight flicking from corner to corner, but she saw nothing unusual. Still, the feeling of being watched lingered in the air. That's when she heard it again. The soft scraping sound. It came from the far corner of the attic, near the pile of boxes. Emma's breath caught in her throat. She turned toward the noise, her flashlight trembling in her hand. Her eyes scanned the corner, and for a moment she thought she saw movement, something dark shifting behind the boxes. A chill ran down her spine, and she instinctively stepped back. Then, suddenly, the sound stopped. Emma stood frozen, her heart racing. The room felt unbearably still, the silence pressing in on her. Her mind raced with possibilities. Was it just her imagination? Was she just hearing things? But deep down, she knew it wasn't. The sense of dread gnawing at her made it clear. Something was in the attic. Something was not right. She tried to steady her breathing, telling herself that it was probably just an animal. A raccoon or squirrel, maybe. But the thought didn't bring her any comfort. She had grown up here, and she knew the house better than anyone. There were no animals in the attic. It had been sealed off for years. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed through the attic, followed by a sharp scraping noise, much louder this time. Emma's heart leapt into her throat, and without thinking, she bolted from the attic, slamming the door shut behind her. She backed away quickly, her breath coming in short, panicked gasps. The door to the attic was closed, locked, and sealed once more, but the strange noises didn't stop. They continued, faint at first, then growing louder as if something, or someone, was trying to break free. The scraping, the thumping, the unmistakable sound of movement from above. Emma could no longer tell if it was an animal or something far more sinister. She couldn't ignore it any longer. She needed answers. Emma called her parents, her voice trembling as she tried to explain the strange occurrences, but they didn't believe her. They reassured her that it was probably just an animal or some other natural cause. But Emma knew better. There was something, or someone, in the attic. She could feel it in the pit of her stomach. The next day, Emma decided to take matters into her own hands. She armed herself with a flashlight and went back up to the attic, determined to find out what was going on. This time she wasn't going to back down. But as she opened the door to the attic, she was met with a chilling sight. The room had changed. The boxes, which had once been stacked neatly in the corner, were now scattered across the floor. Some had been torn open, their contents spilled out in a haphazard mess. And there, in the center of the room, was something that sent a wave of terror crashing over her. A strange dark figure stood in the corner of the room, hidden in the shadows. Emma's heart skipped a beat. She could barely make out the shape, but it was unmistakable. Something was there, something human but distorted, its features hidden in the dark. Frozen in place, Emma couldn't move, couldn't speak. Her mind screamed for her to run, but her body betrayed her. Then, without warning, the figure moved. It lurched toward her, its form twisting and contorting in the dim light. Emma stumbled back, her breath caught in her throat as she scrambled for the door. But the figure was faster. It was already in front of her, blocking the only escape. In the suffocating silence, Emma's scream echoed through the attic as everything around her went dark. What is lurking in the attic? And will Emma be able to escape the horror that has taken root in her home? Make sure to follow and stay tuned for the next chapter, where the terrifying mystery continues to unfold.